30 years ago, Joe Tex passed away. I got the news 30 years ago by listening to the radio. Frankie Hollywood Crocker.
WBLS.
Frankie! The Frankie Crocker in the house, he can get 3 pieces.
Tall, tan, young, and fly. Anytime you want me, baby, reach out for me. I'm your guy. Just as good to you as it is for you. You get so much with the Frankie Crocker touch. After all, how can you lose with the stuff I use? Turn out the light and hold me tight. Frankie says it's just got to be all right. Closer than whites on rice, closer than coals on ice, closer than a collars on a dog, closer than a hams on a country hog. Really? Young and due, ain't never had enough of nothing. Definitely ready. If you need it, be steady. Everything's gonna be everything. But remember, if you can't stand it, please don't demand it. Don't let your eyes get your mind messed up where your heart and soul desires something you know you just can't stand. Really? All I have to do is set the needle to the track, separate the soul from the wax, lay in the groove, and hope to make you move. Bound to put more dips in your hips, more cut in your strut, and more glide in your stride. If you don't dig it, you know you've got a hole in your soul. And you don't eat chicken on Sunday.
WBLS and what?
Frankie would come on and play 3 of Joe's songs, and then he would say that out of Texas, sad news, the passing of the great Joe Tex. Now, I knew Joe Tex from a little child, and I was telling you I was really taken aback. I was shocked, hurt. Wow, I said, what happened? He was only 40 years, and I just couldn't believe that he was gone so suddenly. I can recall him being on Frankie Crocker. He had a short-lived show called Electric Village, and I can remember Joe being on that show in 1968 and presenting Frankie Crocker with some little cars, and it's just so much I can recall of Joe Tex's life.
Today is rising young singing star Joe Tex. How are you, Joe?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Tell me, what kind of singing would you call yours, Joe?
Well, it's rhythm and blues.
But hasn't the fad for rhythm and blues somewhat faded?
Yes, it has, somewhat, but it's still around, you know. And when you come up with a little different idea in a tune, or give it a little bit of a pop flavor, they call it blues ballad. And you kind of maybe, if the tune is good enough, you kind of ease into the pop field, if you're lucky.
Well, Joe, how does a singer decide upon a particular style?
I don't know, man. I think it's something you have to be born with. And mine is a talent that I was born with. I didn't go to school for a voice. It's just something that I was born with, and I use that, you know.
I was born in a small town in Texas named Rogers, Texas, and Rogers is sort of central Texas. It's about 50 or 60 miles northeast of Austin, which is the capital. And Waco, I think they say Waco, Texas is the center, you know, and Rogers is just maybe 60 or 70 miles from Waco, so it's sort of central Texas.
I feel any day now that we'll all be leaving. Oh yeah, we got to leave here. But the only thing that I'm still puzzled about, Lord, it's got him puzzled, Lord, it's got him guessing, is that I don't know how we're supposed to get out. Gotta get out. All I know is that we're living in the last days. We're in the last days, yeah. Y'all might not believe it. These next few precious days are the last days.
After I auditioned for the Godfrey thing, though, I never did hear from them anymore. Yeah. I went down and auditioned, and I didn't hear anything. So while I was in New York, I went up to the Apollo Theater, and they let me on the amateur show, and I won 4 weeks during the summer, 4 weeks in a row. And when you win 4 weeks, they give you a recording contract and a week with a professional act that's coming in the following week. So that's what happened then. I got a record deal with King. But I was still a junior in high school, and when I called my mother and told her that I'd won, you know, and I wanted to stay in New York and make some records, she said, no, you come home, you know, and finish this last year in high school, you know, because none of our people, my mother, my father, or anybody in my immediate family had ever finished high school. So she wanted at least my sister and myself to at least finish high school. So I went back, and Henry Glover, who was the A&R man for King at that time, told me, said, go on back if that's what your mother wants you to do, and the contract is still good next year. When you finish high school, just come on back to New York and get in touch with me, and we'll still do it. So I went back and finished the last year in high school and went right on back to New York and cut my first record for King.
Brothers and sisters, this is just a tremendous effort of letting you know the greatness of a man whom I truly miss, and never let a day go by that something where we didn't mention Joe Tex. I was in National Harbor on the border there, Maryland and Virginia and Washington, where they all meet pretty much. I was over in the National Harbor area, Maryland. Come off the elevators, Joe Tex music is playing.
Show me two people that's in love with each other, and I'll show you two people that ain't going no further than their arms could reach to hold one another. Let them lovers alone. Yeah, they gonna do all right. Yes, Joe Tex, y'all. This was at the National Harbor.
You walk in a barbershop, Joe Tex music is playing. You hear his music everywhere. 30 years ago, because he sowed some good seeds. A good man, a great man, a brother whom we love, Brother Joe Tex. And so I'm doing this documentary because I think there's a lesson for everybody to learn about Brother Joe Tex. Joe Tex was not just an entertainer, he was a songwriter. He had written many great songs. Joe Tex. He was a performer. He was an actor. He was just a brother who was always coming up with his enthusiastic self. He was coming up with ideas. See, he came out of Texas, but he wasn't going to stay in Texas. He told you, ain't I a mess?
You met him when you was 19 and he was 24. So 24, right. 24, if he born 35, that would make it 55, 59, I guess, around 1959.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. All right, so you was there way before he even signed with Buddy Killen, and he was still like the rock and roll cowboy working with Cut It Out and all of those tunes back then, right?
Right. He was struggling when I met him. I don't even think he had a car. He was probably riding around in one of the band members' cars. I don't think so. But anyway, I met him at a club he was doing. I was in college, and I don't know, we just kind of started talking somewhere along the way, but he left. He went into the service, and he was stationed, I think that's Fort Jackson in Columbia.
Right, Columbia, South Carolina is Fort.
Columbus or somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, so he was stationed in the military, and that's really when we started writing each other.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had really close correspondence then. I think when he got out, well, I was still in school, and he got out on a medical disability. So he wasn't in very long. I don't remember how long, maybe a year, something like that.
Which branch?
Not very long.
Which branch of service was he in?
In the Army.
Okay. Very good.
Because people, I've known so many nights, I've waited for years. I've gone around in a daze, waiting for the Sunday afternoon that she'd say these very words for me, and now she was saying them for another man. I wonder if you know how I felt. But as I sat there, the ceremony was carried on, and after it was over, everybody was shaking hands, laughing and talking with one another. She came up the aisle with her lover, and she stopped in front of me, and she says, Joe, baby, I want you to always remember that even though you and I are apart, that I'm going to keep a place reserved for you right here in the corner of my heart. I couldn't say a word. I stood there and watched them throw rice over their heads, and I watched them drive away in a car on a honeymoon. I couldn't say one word. Not one single solitary word could I say. Not one word. But all I could do was cry. People, I tell you that all I could do was cry.
Don't you This was a hit song for my dad, the late great Joe Tex. But I slowed it down and check it out, y'all. Listen, I said I gotcha. I gotcha. Listen, you told me the day that you quit your boyfriend. You said I would be the only man to ease on me. You said it would be, baby, just us two, yeah. You said I would be the only man kissing on you, yeah. Listen, baby, don't you got away from me, girl. I got you. Y'all having a good time tonight? Can y'all just put your hands in the air?
Your father, mostly all of his songs was, history that was related to some part of his history. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, in a lot of aspects. Talked a lot about Navasota growing up. Here out in Houston and Texas and Baytown and those areas, and things that he dealt with growing up, seeing the hard times that he went through.
That's right.
Growing up in Navasota, Texas, and the things that they had to do to survive. So a lot of personal experiences, a lot of things that he just dealt with on a personal level too. I remember him saying one time how he would also listen. He liked listening to people's stories, when he's out and about and people having conversations and talking. And he talks about that in one of his songs where he's in a hotel room, but he can hear what's going on in the other room.
That was Under Your Powerful Love. He said he checked his bags in at the 20 Grand Motel where he always stay and hang out with the brothers. He said as he put his bags down, he could hear conversation coming in from the next room.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So all always open and always looking for stories from all places. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it don't get no listening through the wall at the hotel.
That's right.
Hear how the story gonna turn out.
That's right. Go ahead. You tried your best.
Might have took I'd take the glass and stick it up to the wall.
That's right.
And then listen in on that thing. But so I mean, he's definitely creative and did so much. I'm just I guess on a personal level, getting tired of him getting overlooked. I feel like he's not getting the credit that he deserves as far as what he's done in the music industry.
Brother, I feel you so strongly on that.
Brother Joe Tex is who we're talking about today, remembering Joe Tex. And Sure Is Good, SYSLJFM, the letter song, Save Your Sweet Love Just For Me. We're talking about Joe Tex. Hold on to what you got. I want to do everything for you. I believe I'm going to make it. Those were the popular hits, but he also had dozens, scores of hits, 22 consecutive chart hits at one stretch, but he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.